Now, the country is set to have a new president this afternoon, but there are already questions about what changes Cyril Ramaphosa will make to his cabinet. Who will be the deputy? And I think very importantly, who will be the finance minister? Will Malusi Gigaba keep that portfolio? On the line is the Dean and Director at the Henley Business School in Africa, Jon Foster-Pedley. Good afternoon, John. Welcome to the Midday Report.
Thank you, Ray. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, many thought that Malusi Gigaba was thrown into the deep end. Has he managed to swim, in your opinion?
I think the deepest questions about Malusi Gigaba are about his about governance and his connections with deals that people are questioning. However, I think for a new minister to be thrown into the finance portfolio for any job that size, it takes time to learn it. So you've got two sides to this. One, is he the man who will stay in there, learn the job, give the budget speech, and be able to provide some stability and have the capacity to deal with the new directions that are coming through, that Ramaphosa will bring through? Or is he somebody who needs to be moved to another portfolio to make place for somebody like perhaps even Pravin Gordhan or Nene to come back into that portfolio and build with the same perspective that Ramaphosa will have and create continuity of a different sort, continuity of policy.
Very interesting picture this morning of Cyril Ramaphosa and Trevor Manuel going for a jog. And it sort of jogged my memory thinking Trevor Manuel was a great finance minister. If we are looking at Wednesday and you do need to get someone in, should it be someone of his caliber?
I think, generally speaking, people are very fond of Trevor Manuel. And just to give you the Gigaba story a little bit more, I actually went into one of our classes, a postgraduate diploma class, was full of managers in their 30s and 40s, and asked this question, should Gigaba stay? About 30 of the 40 put up their hands and said he must go now. A few undecided, and about three or four said, nope, he should stay because he's inherited a mess from somewhere else and he's a good guy. So I think the overwhelming majority was he should go. But moving on to Manuel, I think he's got a tremendous track record. I remember seeing him very early in his tenure in the 90s, moving into that position, working with consultancies with an enormous intelligence and a capacity to absorb information and to be plausible and to be honest and challenging. So I think you're talking about people with pedigree who could provide stability and credibility to us and settle people down knowing that you've got depth of governance, depth of ability, and a very calm, solid hand on the steering wheel. So yeah. I think it would be very useful to have Trevor Manuel back, frankly.
Just hearing you say that now, former Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene today told my colleague Eusebius McKaiser that it's not always up to the minister, but rather up to his team. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think one of my favorite programs, and perhaps people in South Africa haven't seen it much, is Yes Prime Minister and Yes Minister. It's about the interplay between a minister who's working to a political mandate and the civil service who are working to a theme of continuity and good governance that is enduring for a country. And I think there's two things. One is the minister's direct team of people he brings with him or she brings with him, and they'll tend to be either political people with the same orientation and same ethos as him or herself. But the civil servants should be people who are more independent of government mandates, political mandates, who can really steer the country, which makes me think that we really have a job to do to build governance within our civil service and to provide real substance in management and thinking capability in our civil service so that we can create the policies and execution that will make things happen.
Yeah.
I think we're moving to a state where a lot of the political interference and the terrible corporate governance issues we've been facing are going to be remedied to some degree. I think you'll see a quick emerging confidence in South Africa externally. But we do need to invest in skills and management skills. Now, as the dean of a business school, I would be remiss if I didn't say that learning how to manage, learning how to lead, learning how to execute are critical skills for our future.
Absolutely. Jon Foster-Pedley, Dean and Director at the Henley Business School in Africa. Thanks for joining us this afternoon on the Midday Report.